In this market that we went through after COVID, those value adds typically are your workforce housing, and those tenant base was the ones that got hurt the most when it came down to this market that was unpredictable and this, black swan that we didn't know we were going through. So when you wanted to increase rent after COVID, which the market was extremely healthy to increase rent across the board. It didn't matter if you were in an A asset or if you were in a D asset. It didn't matter. Rents were increasing across the board at the same exact speed. And it didn't matter what you were making, your income was that you were bringing in. So what we were finding was that when we were increasing these rents to the value add deals, these tenants couldn't afford it. They wanted to. They didn't mind paying it. Their income just didn't match with the increase of rents. So what we were finding was that when we would underwrite these deals, they couldn't meet the 3 times income that we underwrite at. So we decided, hold on a minute, we didn't like the core deals before because you would buy these core deals at a 3% cap. Normally, that's what where you would buy value adds at 6-8% cap, right? So we're like, oh, wait a minute. And also price levels, they're completely different. But in today's market, it doesn't matter, again, if you buy an A or a D asset, you're still buying at a 3% cap. So we're like, what are we doing? 3% cap, and you buy a deal that you put 0 capex, or you buy at a 3 cap where you know that you have a heavy lifting to improve the property. Core value, your tenants are they're making a good amount of money on a constant basis. They're not having problems with their income. B, C, D asset tenants, they're not getting income increases, and they can't afford to accept the increase in rents. So we started evaluating our portfolio, and we're like, wait a minute, we need to change our core values here. We're going to switch out from value adds to core deals. And because of those things, and one of the main reasons is that when we underwrite our deals, and we always underwrite our tenants like if we're lending them a loan for 12 months. So not a lot of people like to underwrite their deals once they're renewing leases. So you get a lot of, evictions or late pays, and it's a lot of work when you have to do all those things. So because of that reason, we started looking into core deals. Now, not a lot of people, when they're in multifamily, they can't afford to move up to core deals just because it's, of course, more expensive. But the rate of return on your money are the same in this market today is the same. So we did the stretch. We sold out some of the apartments that we had that didn't fit that core values, and we disposed of those and purchased new deals that fit the new core value that we have in our portfolio.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, I mean, there's obviously it's very nuanced, but with the core deals, very stable, secure, and just an easier target or like an easier demographic where you can increase rents, and they do it because they have their better professions or whatever it may be, a better livelihood. Whereas on the value add side of things, because of the amount of rent increases that were happening during the last year and a couple of years ago, when you go and add value, they can't necessarily keep up with like the quote unquote inflation of like the new market rent. Is that about right?
Correct. Exactly this. Yes, exactly the scenario.
Okay, great. And so one of the things you talked about that I just wanted to get some clarity on, because I know there are a lot of people listening here, we do talk about cap rates quite a bit. So do you think you could just give us like a quick rundown of the concept behind a cap rate, and why a 3% cap would be significant in one of the deals that you were talking about?
Yeah, so cap rate, like I'm sure most of your audience knows, it's the return on your cash money. Like you're not putting debt on the deal. This is if you're going in, purchasing the property with no debt. That's what your cap rate return is. A 3% return is if you invest $1,000, which you have to buy the property in full with no debt, you're making 3% on that $1,000.